So this ab special is going to be a little bit different. We all know that this video is dedicated to OmegaWeapon, also known as Abs, also known as the greatest dude around. Links down below to check out his stuff. However, I've read most of his Choosing Beggars posts, if not all of them, with the exception of the most recent one, and we're going to be doing ProRevenge posts from Abs. I hope you all enjoy. Our first post from OmegaWeapon is titled, "How I Got Back at a Bunch of Racist Rednecks in a Rural Town I Was Installing a Cell Tower in." I have my fingers in a few pies. I'm a mechanical engineer by trade, but I switched to network as that's where the money is at the moment. I'm employed by a very large telco delivery partner in Sydney, Australia. One of those pies is building and overseeing the building of cell phone towers. Recently, I had to go out rural in another state which was mostly bogan infested. I'm a 45-year-old brown guy, born and raised here, but that doesn't matter to most. I can't disclose the location right now as I caused a bit of a shit fight. It was Friday, and I was supposed to arrive on the following Monday, but I got word at the last second that the crew and helicopter to airlift the tower structure were arriving Saturday. So I had to drop everything and fly out immediately. There was hardly any cell reception, hence why we were building a cell tower. Duh. My daughter thought I was eaten by dingoes, and my crush thought I was avoiding her. It was great. 6 a.m. on site. I'm greeted with 45 guys all hungover from the night before. So I sent them home, much to their dismay and the ire of the locals. I was immediately called a dumb wog, an endearing term for ethnics, and filthy wog, which is a little more endearing. I'm a big boy, literally. I could take it. Work cover showed up an hour later. They're the kind of governing body on some workplace safety, and their job is to fuck everyone for things like band-aids being out of date. That actually happened on a different site. Out of band-aids, go figure. I advised them that the crew was drunk and I sent them home for obvious reasons. I was flying in my own crew, which pissed off the locals even more. More wogs in their shitty one-horse town. My crew arrived around midday to cheers from the locals. "Go home, you filthy cunts! Why aren't our guys doing this? You sent them home to get your wog mates in? Fucking ISIS camel driver cunt! Fuck off!" It was heartwarming. So much kindness. We were there to bring them out of the Stone Age, but evidently only white people are allowed to do that. We had to call the local police. If you're familiar with my posts, you'll see I'm no stranger to politely punching people in the mouth repeatedly. My guys are ex-cons who don't want to go back to jail, so they're very placid. The police had to explain to the bogan wildlife why we were here and to stop harassing us. Eventually, though, they had to leave, and the native fauna were at it again. I probably heard wog in various iterations mentioned 20 times in the short time we were there. The last straw was some guys sitting behind us at the pub, dropping the word every few seconds. I turned around to say something. My guys were shitting themselves. "No, Abs, please, we're outnumbered." I joined them to their surprise and asked if there was an issue we needed to sort. "Yeah, you can fuck off back to Sydney." I bought him a beer and told him to wrap his mouth around that or something else more colorful. We ended up finishing the tower, but it didn't have power yet, so it was inert. Just a tower looking the part, but doing absolutely nothing. But the locals didn't know that and kept looking at their phones and asking when the reception kicks in. We still had to wait for a team to install a secured site structure to house the equipment. I told my guys to pretend they had full high-speed reception, and I put on a few saved WhatsApp videos and showed a local, who called me a filthy wog 2 days earlier, that I had 4K'd YouTube. He demanded the Wi-Fi password, so I gave him a string of random numbers and said the tower is still in test phase, so refresh your Wi-Fi every few seconds. It could take hours. This was obviously bullshit. Next thing you know, there are 50 or so locals with lawn chairs and picnic blankets, cases of beer camped around this tower, refreshing their Wi-Fi. After a few complaints, I told them that during the test phase, only the first 50 people will connect. Everyone else will have to wait maybe a month, so the race was on. The majority of complaints after a few hours were, "It's still not working! How come you can connect?" I told them that I was an admin and had a secret password which I couldn't give out because someone can mess with the settings. Our car arrived nearly 6 hours later, and these guys were still there, desperately refreshing their Wi-Fi, trying to connect. I shouted some polite goodbyes at them, and may have reminded them how much of a bunch of backwards redneck dumb fucks they were. Back at Sydney, I was called in regarding a series of complaints. Locals can't connect, and were advised that they couldn't as the tower wasn't active. I was busted and lectured on professionalism. There was talk of the media getting involved. I regret nothing. In all honesty, if these people are going to be disrespectful, calling names, insulting you when you're there to provide a service for them, and how quickly the tables turned in the end when they're sitting there desperately to connect for their Wi-Fi, exactly the reason you were there, and yet it still didn't work for them. To me, that sounds like karma. They should learn how to respect people, and also learn how to be patient, since it seems like they'll be waiting for that Wi-Fi for a good long time. This next one is titled, Corrupt Owners Corporation, Body Corporate, Rep, and his friend get a taste of karma for general assholery. It's a little long and not my usual funny stuff, but I hope you enjoy. Reposted because too many Aussie terms people understandably don't understand. I fell into my line of work by accident. I'm an engineer by trade, and one day as a favor, I built a custom arcade cabinet for my son's disabled friend. This led to other stuff and a business doing custom work, so my garage wasn't enough anymore. I rented a unit in an industrial complex and hired some people with disabilities to both give them a chance at work, teach them some skills, and help me out obviously. It was my first time renting an industrial unit, so I had no idea what I was in for. Enter Bogan, redneck, next door neighbor. This guy was an absolute prick in every way. The previous renter in my workshop was a cabinet maker, and he left the place a little dusty. We vacuumed and swept, etc. Then we noticed other guys in the units across with leaf blowers, so I got my guy to blow the leftover dust out. Bogan neighbor comes storming in, swearing, being a dick, and calling my guy a stupid cunt. I asked what the issue was. He said that dust was going into his motorcycle repair shop and on his clients' bikes. The bikes were parked in front of my shop. The deal with the real estate was all parking in front of the shops belonged to that shop. I advised him of that, and he said he had 1 parking, not 4, and that's the deal he had with Strata. I showed him my rental agreement, and he wasn't happy. He still snuck in a bike and a space or two, temporarily, but I told him it was okay as long as he asked. He never asked. Anyway, I apologized, introduced myself, and offered to get the bikes detailed. Then I pointed out everyone else using leaf blowers. "Yeah, but their dust isn't coming into my shop, yours is." Fair enough, I thought. I still had a day job I was in the process of finishing my 2 weeks notice with. The following day I'm at the day job when I get a call. Carlos, my guy, was upset. Bogan neighbors stormed in and started yelling abuse at him because a little dust went outside. Mind you, this place is zoned for heavy industry, so there are truck mechanics and masons there with dust and smoke everywhere. I came down. Bogan is going off. I know his type, so I said, "Calm the fuck down or step outside." He calmed down. We talked civilly. I told him Carlos is mentally challenged and he's here as part of an incentive to teach them real-world skills. Apologized again, shook his hand, and thought it was over. Nope. 2 days later, I get a call that council and EPA are out there on an anonymous complaint. I got served with a cease work order as the place had a DA, development application for storage, not cabinet making and fabrication. I had to get a site plan drafted, a floor plan, fire evacuation, waste management, environmental impact statement, and a brief explanation of my business. Then have it stamped by Body Corporate and submitted to the town planner for approval. Apparently, he did this to the last guy too. Body Corporate refused to stamp my application. It turns out that the elected Body Corp representative was a friend of Bogan next door, and Bogan next door was a partner in the maintenance contract. Also, Bogan next door wanted to buy the unit, so he's trying to pull this shit to get it cheap. The owners were two old ladies in Melbourne. Immediately after talking to Body Corporate, they tried to backdate a bylaw suggesting no joinery or cabinet making on the site because of pollution. Luckily, they didn't get the votes needed as I got along well with almost everyone. They stalled stamping my approval and the cease work order took effect. As long as I lodged it, I could continue work, but I couldn't lodge it without the stamp. So I went 2 months back and forth. Body Corp manager was never around, wouldn't answer calls or emails, so I went straight to the town planner and had a word with him. He was a really chill guy, liked what I was doing, saw no problem and accepted the application. I was allowed to resume work until I get either an approval or rejection. Bogan neighbor was shocked to see me, and coincidentally, Body Corp arrived the same day ordering us to shut down. I told him to kindly fuck off and showed him my DA lodgement receipt. Anticipating nefarious feckery on their part, I installed cameras. Surprise, surprise, I get a visit from council 3 days later with another dust complaint. I went through footage with them present, and lo and behold, at the day specified, I was at the day job and Carlos was wiring. No dust. Now, council and EPA realized Bogan neighbor was full of it. He had a motorcycle on the dyno which was incredibly loud. EPA said maybe I should file a complaint. Wink wink. I get an email from Body Corp strongly worded and full of bullocks. I noticed it was a Gmail address, so I responded in my usual cynical way and ended with, Gmail? Really? Not very professional. I can help with domain if you need. I then did a search and noted they didn't have a website, so I registered every iteration of their company name, .com.au, .com, .net, hyphenated, underscored, you name it. About 13 domains in total. Then I registered their business name. They had a generic business trading as, but there was no hit for their trading as name. It was also two common words together, so it passed. I had a friend on the Central Coast, so I registered it under his address. The business name began with Central, so it was a failsafe. With the unprofessional for not having a website seed planted, I inevitably received a complaint from Fair Trading and GoDaddy about the business name and domains. After some back and forthing, submitting evidence, etc., it was found in my favor. Buffy Corp was pissed. I offered to sell them everything for the cost of the loss of work and the drafting I had to pay a draftsman for the DA application. $12.5K in lost work and expenses. They told me to F off. I told them to eat a variety of suspicious looking sausages. I bought a decibel meter, and the next time Bogan next door dynoed a bike, I recorded it. I think by Sydney law, they're allowed 91 decibels. This guy fitted exhausts and was reading 94 to 97 next door. I called EPA and put in a complaint. They found him in breach, not enough soundproofing, no fume extraction, and a variety of other things he got fined for. I heard it cost him thousands, and he was shut down for a week or so. Body Corp finally agreed to pay after we used our domain to put up a website claiming shonky work for twice the price. We agreed on $9,000. I moved out 2 months later and got a cheaper place closer to home with only one neighbor, who likes techno music and barbecue. Every weekend, I hold a small barbecue for us. We get along just fine. What goes around comes around, and the way you got not only your neighbor back, but the Body Corp by buying their domains, changing all of that, and pretty much making them buy that stuff off of you, absolutely beautifully done. Perfect revenge. And our final post is titled, Ronnie, the Bully Who Ate Shit, removed from r/ProRevenge. When I was 7, 1981 in Sydney, I lived in a quiet street. There were 4 other kids my age, and we were all good friends. One day this kid moves in. His name was Ronnie. He was 2 years older and a spoiled little brat. We had to walk past his house when going anywhere. The shop, the park, school, etc. So he was hard to avoid. His bedroom window overlooked the street too. He immediately started bullying us, going through our pockets and school bags and taking everything he could. We were timid kids and he was extremely large. The guy's dad was also large and tattooed up, so I think our parents were a little afraid of them too. We complained. Our parents tried talking to his, but he'd deny everything and his parents believed him and actually told us to fuck off. The revenge part. One Easter, my mother was making chocolates and we had an idea. We stole a little molten chalky and one of the plastic molds and placed a small fun-sized piece of dog turd in it. Put it in a friend's fridge, then wrapped it in colored foil. We strutted up and down in front of Ronnie's house until he came out. We had real chocolates too, to make it seem legit. He predictably took the bait and demanded the chalkies or he'd bash us. We were all actually shit scared we might get caught. But we only have one left, Ronnie. He snatched it, unwrapped it, and stuck the whole thing in his mouth. Then pushed me and called me a dumb wog. A few seconds later, he started dry retching. We pointed and laughed at him. "You're eating dog shit, you dumb cunt." He started crying and throwing up. I then kicked him in the balls. Someone pantsed him, but I don't remember who. It was a good day. He never fucked with us again. How was your day, Reddit? I can wonder why he never messed with you guys again, because you put him in his place and taught him that he can't just keep bullying everybody. Plus, I mean, you made him eat a dog turd. I'm sure he was not tasting things properly for a while. Such sweet revenge. Alright, well that wraps up Ab's special number 4. If you guys liked any of the posts, the links are down in the description below. Head on over to Reddit and show Ab some love. His links are also down in the description, so check those out. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell and drop a comment down below. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons, and have a great day.